Alright, so there's the two cam towers. This was the first one I did. And here's the second one. So the second one's a little cleaner, a little shinier. I don't know if this is just because this is sat a little bit longer. Or I did not use the steel brushes on this one. I started off with this, with the, I think I started with 180. I think I started with the green one, not even the brown. So this one looks like it polished up a little bit nicer. It's a little bit brighter. So, but if you remember, I am using this one because you can see there's scratches on that. This one's the worst one. So you can see those scratches in there, and you can feel them with your fingernail. It's a little hard with the gloves on, but so since I had this other cam tower, let's see now this one, that side polished up a little bit nicer. Isn't that weird? So, yeah. So the reason that I'm using this is I don't see any scratch marks on any of those. So I think that's a better cam tower. Okay, so we are going to attempt to put the camshaft back together. I think I've got all my parts ready. That's my old cam. I got to get the other one that's in the car. So we will start working on getting this back together. Alright, so the rear is on. The cam is back in the housing. I looked in the manual. Didn't have a whole lot about putting that in, so I did use some engine lube and stuff on the parts that were metal on metal. Just because it didn't seem like it should go in there without any kind of lubrication at all. Didn't seem too smart. But so next thing is getting lifters in. So I've got some of those spares. It really doesn't matter what one they go in, because these lifters did not come out of this housing. There's nothing I can do about that. So I'll just find 8 good ones and we'll put them in. Alright, so I have 8 good lifters that I will put in, and I will use a little grease to hold them in there so they hold in while I put the cam tower on. Alright, so we have our first torque down to 7.5 foot-pounds, or 10 Newton meters. And now I have to do my second one down to 15 foot-pounds, or 20 Newton meters for these bolts. Okay, double checked. Everything is torqued down to 15 foot-pounds. Everything looks, pretty good. Looks a lot cleaner. Looks a lot nicer. Hopefully it'll run. So I just got to put these in. And in the head gasket kit came the new washers for this as well. And these get torqued down to 29 foot-pounds. Okay. So I was able to get the collar on. This actually went in really easy. Almost kind of worries me a little bit how easy it went in. I was able to push it in. Now I oiled it up pretty good with some oil, but it slid right in. So that was nice and easy. The collar was a little difficult to get on. I had to take some 800 grit sandpaper. I think what it was is there's a little bit of rust on here, so I just kind of cleaned that up a little bit, and it slipped. It slipped on with a little persuasion, but it wasn't too bad. So the crank is in, the evaporust just getting cleaned up, and then we'll finish putting it together. So now that I'm looking at this, I'm thinking I probably should have put the headers on first before I put the cam tower on. Oh well, I'll have to get through it. I'm sure I can, but it just would have probably been easier if it had been done before the cam tower was put on. So, front sprocket's on. Cam sprocket's on. This is tightened, but it's not torqued down yet. I still have to torque it down. I'm trying to figure out the torque. So, camshaft sprocket bolt, hex bolt, multiple socket bolt. One's 33, one's 48 to 52. I don't know what that means. So it's not a hex head bolt. I'm assuming maybe that's the cheese head, the triple square bolt. But I'll have to ask. All right, so I did find the information. So the cheese head bolt is the multiple socket bolt. That's if you switch to the hex. So 48 to 52. So I torqued it down to 50, right in the middle. So that is back on. I think we're good to go with that. All right, so top dead center. Are you gonna be able to see down in there or not? Probably not. Top dead center. Got to look at the balance shafts, and I've just got to tighten this belt up. And then we'll just try turning it over by hand a few times, and hopefully nothing binds up. Nothing should. I mean, everything should be okay. But we shall see. So. In order to show that bottom balance shaft is at top dead center. And then the upper balance shaft is at top dead center as well. Okay, so I tightened it. Barely turned that, just with it. And that goes to 90 degrees. Rotated the engine once around. Didn't hear anything clanking. Didn't hear those clicks either, like I heard before I put the engine back together. And that doesn't move like it did before. Remember how that went? So we'll get the top part put back together and get the exhaust put on and go from there. So I cranked it around again, and the timing got off. I think this belt was just a little too loose. So I think what I really need to do is I'm going to need to at least take the other belts off and really truly do it the right way. And get in there and get that tightened down and do it the right way. So that kind of stinks, but I'm not going to mess this up again. So that's going to have to, it's just basically redoing the belts all together. So that's what I'm going to need to do.